Hey everyone, welcome back. Breaking news. Trump signs the executive order on Bitcoin strategic reserve. So we'll get into all the details there. Bitcoin crashed on the news actually today, so it was kind of like a sell in the news event, it seems like, but it's bouncing back up a little bit here now. Miners did not do well today either. Bitcoin was down in the day nonetheless. Core got annihilated today because of a false news report, I think it was. We'll talk about that a little bit. I don't have any details further than that on it. I forgot to pull that up. So forgive me on that, but I know it was, we'll get into it when we get into the stock market part of the show here on the miners. And then what else do we have here? IREN provided their production update for February. Hut 8 did the same thing. So we have those news stories. We have some stories about states and SBR. Other good news as well on top of it. So it should be good news going forward, I think. We'll see, but we'll get into all the details. All right. As always, you guys know the drill, not financial advice, for intent only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into here what happened with Bitcoin today and the miners as well. And we can see here that Bitcoin was down, was up in the day for part of the day at least, and then it came back down and we ended up in the red here. We were down just 0.75% roughly. We closed at 89,921. And then if we look at the 1 hour chart here, when Trump signed that executive order on the strategic Bitcoin reserve here, we saw a nice, what is it, like a $4,400 candle just go way down on that, and then it's bounced back here a little bit. So it's looking a little bit better now. I think it's just what's happening here is the longs are getting liquidated right now. This is a really good news for us. We'll get into that when we go into the news section of the show. But I think this is great. But we'll get into it, okay? I don't want to get too deep into it right now. Overall, the miners, like I said, today were down. MicroStrategy was down also just a little bit here, 1.4%. Bitfarms was down 5%. BitTier was down 6.25%. Cypher was down almost 8.9%. Cleanspark was down 4.7% roughly. CORZ was down a lot, 18%. On the day here, it was down even, I think, more than that at one point. But it came back up a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about CORZ here right now. CORZ, there was a story that came out that was floated around that Microsoft was canceling some of the contracts that they had with CoreWeave. And that obviously spooked the market with Core, because CoreWeave is going to be having a lot of megawatts with Core. So that spooked the markets and drove the stock down here. CoreWeave did provide a comment that is not true, basically, that they have not had any contracts canceled from Microsoft or any pending contracts or commitments being canceled or anything like that. But for whatever reason, the stock never recovered after that. So it's definitely down here quite a bit. It's the lowest it's been now since basically back here where we had a little bit of a crash on it at that point also, which was back in August of last year. Okay, Hive was down 3.57%. Hut was down 10% as well. IREN was down 5.4%. Mara was down just a little bit here, 0.2%. That one did the best here out of the miners, looks like. Riot was down 8.6%. Wolf was down 9.4%. And the smaller miners were down for the most part, except for Argo was up just slightly, 0.11%. ETFs got crushed today as well, with a lot of these guys being down 4, 6, 5, 8% on the day. I think Core drove a lot of these guys down, especially WGMI here. With that one being down 18%, that definitely took down more of the share of the miners that are in there right now. Okay, so that's it on the Bitcoin miners here. Bitcoin right now for the month of March is still up 7%. Not too bad. It's still early on. We'll see where we go going forward here. But with Trump obviously announcing the strategic Bitcoin reserve, I think we're going to go up higher here. It's just a matter of time now. All right, a couple of news stories that we do have here. This is pretty good here. Just in the Texas Senate, or Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve legislation, SB 21 passes the Senate in Texas. It's going to be going on to the House. And it's a high chance or high likelihood that it's going to get passed and get to the governor there to sign into law. They are working very, very hard to have Bitcoin as a strategic reserve there, and want to be one of the first states to do it as well, which would be rightfully so, because they do have a lot of miners in the state there that are helping them out with the power grid, balancing it and everything else. So that's a good thing to get done, right? So this is great news here. Some other little good news here. More adoption basically happening here. So just in Brazilian listed company, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Meiluz, buys 45% Bitcoin for 4.1 million, right? It's a public or private corporation or public listed company. It's just another one of those things where you get adoption happening with the corporations, states, governments. It's game on basically for Bitcoin right now. And then here we have finally footage of Trump signing the Bitcoin and crypto executive order. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear this. I'm going to put my earpiece in as well so I can hear it, hopefully, and it won't be too loud. If it's too loud, let me know. I'll try to keep an eye on the comments here. But let's play this really quick here, see what we get.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in fully?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And I made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a good one.
All right, there you go. Trump kept his promise, like he said. So what does this actually entail? Well, David Sachs was kind enough to provide a post on X here, and this is what he basically had to say. So just a few minutes ago, President Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin owned by the federal government that was forfeited as part of a criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings. This means it will not cost taxpayers a dime, right? I talked about this probably for over the last couple of weeks, months even, saying that if Trump does do an executive order, it's going to be one of those things where he's just going to say basically the coins that the government already has on hand, more or less, that was seized, that stuff's not going to be sold going forward. And sure enough, this is what's happening here. Okay, it is estimated that the U.S. government owns now about 200,000 Bitcoin. However, there has never been a complete audit. The executive order directs a full accounting of the federal government's digital asset holdings. So that's good. We'll get maybe a total of what's actually there. Excuse me. The U.S. will not sell any Bitcoin deposited into the reserve. It will be kept as a store of value. The reserve is like a digital Fort Knox for the cryptocurrency, often called digital gold, Bitcoin. Premature sales of Bitcoin have already cost U.S. taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value. Now the federal government will have a strategy to maximize the value of its holdings. The Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce are authorized to develop a budget-neutral strategies for acquiring, so this is important, acquiring additional Bitcoin, provided that those strategies have no incremental costs on American taxpayers. So they can do that without having possibly a law being enacted by the House, the Senate, going into the government, which Cynthia Loomis is working on anyways. But this just kind of does it right now because this eventually could be wiped out in 4 years after Trump is in office with another president, depending who it is. They could do an executive order where they just basically say sell all the Bitcoins, right, and do away with the strategic reserve. So we still need the bill to be done in the Senate and the House and then passed by or signed by President Trump. That would make it a lot harder to change going forward, but we need something like that anyways. But this is just a little stopgap, I think, from selling any of the Bitcoins that we do currently have here. Okay. In addition, the executive order establishes a U.S. digital asset stockpile consisting of digital assets other than Bitcoin forfeited in criminal or civil proceedings. The government will not acquire additional assets for stockpile beyond those obtained through forfeiture proceedings. So that's basically, at least right now, any other altcoins, I guess you could say. The purpose of the stockpile is responsible stewardships of the government's digital assets under the Treasury Department. So promises made, promises kept. So this is really good. Right. So what does this mean for us? Well, I think it means Bitcoin should be going up, right? And the reason I say that is because with Trump signing this executive order, putting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve on there, that's going to put onus on other countries as well to do it. And we've heard rumblings around China looking to do it. We've heard other countries doing it as well. Not Argentina. Is it Argentina? Maybe Argentina. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Paraguay. Where were I have too many of those names in my head now. But there's already a country that's doing it, right? The one that's fighting the IMF. They've been putting it on their strategic reserve as well. So it's just going to be a matter of time before more and more countries start putting it on as well. And then that's going to mean, huge supply shock, I think. And with that, we could definitely see Bitcoin going up much higher than we even think right now. So this is good for not only for us, but also for the miners, because if the price of Bitcoin goes up, that's going to mean more revenues for those guys as well. So it's all good here, right? This is something that we're not bullish enough on. We should see Bitcoin go up higher because of it. Yes, it's going to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's still going to be tumultuous, basically. It's still going to be going up and down. It's still going to be volatile. That's what I was looking for going forward, because Bitcoin does kind of follow the way that the market goes, right? And recently, with all the tariffs being on and off, it's just not a lot of certainty in the market, which the market wants. And it's a lot of uncertainty, which the market does not want. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But in time, we should be going up, especially if we hear another country doing it or something like that, or whatever. A state does it, right? Texas passes the bill. Everything else, that should be going forward. So, and then Caleb says El Salvador. Thank you. It's El Salvador that I was thinking of that has a Bitcoin Strategic Reserve as well. So yeah, this is great. Great first step in this this whole process, I think. But we're still waiting on an actual bill to get passed there and signed by the president to do a legal Bitcoin Strategic Reserve where we could possibly put some cash that's the government's generating, but it's not really generating, it's getting from taxes and things like that. But using that to then increase our Bitcoin treasury there. Okay, so that's really good news. We'll talk about, obviously, in the comments what you guys have to say on that, along with any questions. And then let's get into the operational updates from the two companies that we do have here. First one is from Hut 8. So they provided their update as well. Now, I think I'm still missing only like two companies to provide. I'm missing Hive and BitDeer right now, because we got Hut 8 today and IREN as well. So Hut 8 operational update for February here. They had 582-acre site secured for newest River Bend campus in Louisiana, right? This is the one that we talked about. There was a news outlet or news story happening where the city was voting on, or not the city, but I think they call them province, not a province, what the heck do they call them over there? Whatever it is. They were voting on having Hut 8 go in and build basically a data center there for like 200-300 megawatts, something like that, okay? ASIC fleet upgrade underway with deployment of new miners, so that's good there. Vega development progressing on schedule for Q2 energization. That's the one where they're going to be hosting 15 exahash of ASICs for Bitmain there. Okay, going down here, some more comments. This is a quote from, I believe, still Asher Ganut. In our compute layer, new miners begin arriving at Salt Creek and Medicine Hat, and we are actively deploying them for our fleet upgrade. In parallel, we began the process of relocating the most efficient of our existing ASICs from Salt Creek to Alpha to improve overall fleet performance. While these initiatives resulted in some downtime during the month, it moves us closer to our post-upgrade hash rate target of 10 exahash and fleet efficiency target of 20.5 joules per terahash. Okay, so they were definitely down for more than a couple of days, it seems like, based on my numbers at least. And we'll get into those here shortly. Going down here, we can see here that they have Bitcoin produced here, 46 Bitcoin. It's actually, that also includes part of their JV there. They do list the JV separation down below here, footnote 2 and 10, I believe. And then Bitcoin held in reserve, they increased that a little bit here to 10,237 from 10,208. Okay, what else do we have here? Hash rate under management, 9.4, so that stayed the same. Hash rate under management for ASIC colocation. That stayed the same at 7.7 exahash there. And then there's all their sites they are working on. And let's see, is it number 10 here? Yep, here we go. Okay, so Bitcoin produced net of 50% share of the King Mountain JV. Held by Hut 8's joint venture partner was 38 BTC during February and 51 during, so I believe that's their whole Bitcoin that they have there. Can't remember what they had, 50% share of, Hut 8 on the 50%. That should, well, I can't figure that out because their numbers for fiscal year end are using different segments for business, and it's hard to figure it out. So it is what it is. But let's get into the updates here for them. Right, they have about 93 million shares outstanding. Market cap 1.2 billion. Performance hasn't been great over the last 12 weeks. Current hash rate about 5. It's actually lowered. It's 4.6 here. Future hash rate about 9.3. They should be around 10, like they said. I think something like that. HODL 10,237. That's valued at 922. Their value, or market cap value to HODL is 73%. So definitely not being valued on their operations, more so on their HODL than anything else here, and potential for HPC AI, I think. BTC mined here with the JV was down to, with JV 46, right, is what they reported. So that's been continuing to come down here over the last couple of months. Monthly revenue here from that was 4.38 million. Bitcoin HODL has been increasing slowly here. They did purchase some back in December. Hash rate has been coming down as they're moving things around and getting rid of some of the older things and anticipating the newer machines to come in. And then BTC per access efficiency, really, really low, 8.23. This is the worst out of the miners here right now that we have on them. Going down here to institutions. Institutions did increase, 325 institutions, nice increase there. Shares also increased to 64.1 million. Percentage owned by institutions now 61.9. We still have 5 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price target of $41. That's the same. Average went up, well, actually went down to 32, and the low went down also to 28 here. All right. For February, I had them mining at approximately 13.9 days. So basically half of the month to get to the 4.3 million here in revenue based on that. So not great. Definitely curtailing quite a bit there. All right, based on that information here, I'm using the latest data here for that, plus what their managed services were in Q3. So it's data is definitely old here a little bit, but I have them between 1452 and 2178 here going forward. They're at 1341. I think they're slightly undervalued here based on that information. But like I said, their latest quarterly results, fiscal year-end numbers, they changed the segments, business segments around to include things in. They just made a mess. And it makes it difficult to actually see how they are doing, which is a bummer. Okay, but the big thing here is they're at least improving. They're trying to get newer machines in, get their joules per terahash down, which is good. Grow their hash rate as well, which is good. And then they're getting the Bitmain customer there for hosting as well. So they're gonna make some money off of that as well. They could possibly buy those machines as well. Other than that, I mean, they just got to continue to grow as much as they can. Hopefully they get something done, or maybe they already have something done with the site in Louisiana. Maybe they have somebody that they're going to be partnering with on that, or yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. So hopefully they get something there. But that's it for HUD 8. Let's get into IREN here. And then IREN has started providing these PDFs now as their press releases here. So it makes it really tough to kind of highlight some of the things that I want to talk to you guys about. But basically, let's see here. What do we got here? There's still 31 exahash right now. They still have 1,896 of the NVIDIA H100s and H200 GPUs running. And then here's our update for February. Average operating hash rate was about 28.7, down a little bit from the 29 they had in January. Bitcoin mined was down to 459 from 521 a little bit. Revenue per Bitcoin was, revenue was down because Bitcoin price was down, so 95.5 thousand. Electricity cost here a little higher than they were in January, 28,000 per Bitcoin. It looks like revenue, 43.9 million, and electricity cost was about 13 million, so roughly on that. Okay, Harbor Profit, AI, what else do we have here? Management commentary. Trying to see, they're still on track to get to 50 exahash here by the end of the first half. Bitcoin production declined. Bitcoin production declined in February due to 10% less days in the month. Yeah, there's 28 days instead of 31 days. Okay. Let's see here. AI cloud revenue increased 39% with new contract wins in February. Fleet nearing full utilization at the end of February, with additional contracted revenue expected to materialize in March. Okay, so that's good there. On that, what else do we have here? Project update. You guys can read all that stuff there. And then all their sites where they're located. This is actually pretty good info there. And that's it. So let's get into IREN here. And that one we'll get into Q&A as well. All right, so IREN has about 218 million shares outstanding, market cap 1.6 billion. Performance of the last 12 weeks has not been great, just like for every other miner. Current hash rate 31 exahash, future hash rate, I have them at 57 exahash right now. That could be by the end of the year here. They don't hodl anything, obviously. Production has been coming down here over the last couple of months, but that's a result of them being basically flat on hash rate growth here in the last 3 months on it. Plus, we also had a shorter month here in February, right? So they're down to 459. They were at 529 in December. That was their best month there. Revenue has been coming down as well, quite a bit more than I would have thought here. So I think they curtailed a little bit more than they did in January at least. 43.7, I think they said 43.9 million. So we're close to that based on the average Bitcoin price here for the month. And like I said, hash rate has been flat over the last 3 months, more or less. They sell everything that they get there. Let's see, BTC per exahash efficiency 14.8 is actually pretty good. Might put them in like the second or third spot for the miners right now, at least. Going down here, institutions did increase quite a bit as well. 252 here, shares 103 million. Percentage now is 53% owned by institutions. We have 8 strong buy, 2 buy ratings, 2 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price target stayed the same for the high 26. The average went up to 22.18, and the low stayed the same at 15 there. And then for the month here, I had them operating roughly 25 days out of the month here. So they curtailed for a couple of days, at least 2.5 days, something like that, roughly, what I can figure on it. Okay, based on that, multiply the revenue times 12, and I get them at 24.52 to 36.78 here going forward. It also includes like their average monthly HPC AI revenue that they're getting there currently, which isn't much. What am I adding here? I'm trying to see. I'm adding, actually, yeah, about $1 million here. Roughly, that's what I'm adding into it. They're at 762, definitely way undervalued from where I really think they should be, just like a lot of the miners here are as well. Takeaways for IREN, great growth happening here for them. They just got to continue to execute. I think they're going to be plugging stuff in here this month, I think, going into next quarter as well, to get to the 50 exahash, which is going to be great. And they're working with, possibly hyperscalers there to do something with the other sites that they have. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that as well. All right, that is it. Okay, kind of ran through all this stuff kind of quickly here. As you guys know, I'm playing double duty. Well, not really double duty. Just my wife is out of town for the week, so I still have to take care of my boys here. So let's get into Q&A, and then we'll basically cover everything that we can. So where's Bitcoin now right now? Bitcoin's down 2.4% right now as it is. Okay. Questions, as always, preface them with a Q, question mark or a Q. I'm going to scroll up to see if I missed any questions from you guys earlier on, and we'll work our way down here. Okay, first question I see here is probably going to be from here. Also, could miners be a way for the government to acquire Bitcoin? Thanks. If the government wanted to buy sites and mine that way, yeah, I guess you could. Or they could also come up with a tax for Bitcoin mining, right? For every Bitcoin you mine, you have to pay 0.1 Bitcoin to the government, or whoever, whatever it might be. I probably shouldn't have said that. That's probably going to give them an idea. Okay. Sorry, trying to see if there's any questions, comments going forward. Not a lot of questions here. A bunch of comments. Trying to see. Okay. Question here. Cleanspark, IREN, Riot, with some, I think it's more of a comment with them going down. Okay. Why the hell would people dump BTC? It's manipulation, more or less. Getting rid of some of the longs that are in there, I think, and before we maybe run up more. Revenue says Binance flushing, not people dumping. Okay, that could be part of it as well. And then says bull run is over for the miners, exit on the next bounce and don't look back. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that right now. Okay, question here we go. All right. So basically 2025 was supposed to be a year of AI, except all my AI plays are down 30% plus, LOL. So I'm not surprised BTC crashed after Trump approves SBR. Yeah, it's one of those sell the news events. It looks like people were kind of, but it's not like the, I think it's the first step of the SBR, right? This is just a stopgap, basically allows the government or stops the government from selling the Bitcoin that they already have from confiscation. We still need that actual law being passed by the Senate, the House, and then being signed by the governor, by the president, to do the proper strategic Bitcoin reserve, where then we can possibly use some of the funds that the government is getting to buy also into that. Okay, Andre says, what a flop. The market is not happy. MSTR is down after hours, 6%. Oh, bear with me, I got to sneeze here. Okay, hopefully I was able to mute that for you guys. Bull run canceled by Andre. I don't think so yet. I think we're going to have a nice pump here going into the next 6 to 9 months. Is IREN selling all of the Bitcoin they mine? Yes, they do sell that monthly. John says, I said the BSR wouldn't happen and was wrong. The CNBC article was perfect in saying the reserve will be funded with Bitcoin seized, ensuring taxpayers bear no financial burden, nothing complicated. Yeah, that's basically what it is right now. But it does give them an avenue there to possibly get more without putting a burden on taxpayers. If you saw the tweet from David Sachs. Okay. Wonder if IREN is selling BTC to buy AI NVIDIA chips. That's part of it. Fund operations, fund growth, that's all going, that's why they sell. Heinze, question, even if BTC hits 180,000, 200,000 this cycle, couldn't it make sense? Miners won't move due to the rotation aspect of miners. We already passed February. I don't know. I mean, I would think not. With Bitcoin going to 200,000, these guys are going to be making double what they are right now, more or less, right? Give or take a little bit because of the network hash rate going up. But for the most part, I mean, you got companies like Riot making Mara made this past month 65, so you're looking at about $130 million a month roughly. Going forward, so you're looking at roughly what, 1.5 billion in revenue for the year. Cleanspark is going to be up there as well. They're at 60 million, so you're looking at 120 million roughly there. So that's also going to be close to 1.5 billion as well in revenue potential for for the full year. If you look at it that way. So do you know what time the crypto summit will be tomorrow? I think it's at 2:30 Eastern time, I believe. 2:30 or 1:30, I can't remember exactly, but right around there. Let's see, if Cleanspark hits $17, time to exit. Possibly depending where Bitcoin's at, right? Bitcoin's is 150, 180,000. Cleanspark's only at that. It might be time to exit. When will Cleanspark hit $17? Please go there. Don't know. It's going to depend on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a big mover here. If Bitcoin goes up, I'm sure they're going to follow suit as well. Let's see. Lucian bought some more Cleanspark. Nice. Let's see. Wait, Sebastian, stop talking. BTC is going down. Oh, is it still going down? No, it's down 2.8. Not much. Let's see. Question. I missed the beginning of the stream. Did you have a reason why CORZ was down so much? Yeah, there was a false news story that came out that Microsoft was canceling some of the contracts and some of the commitments with CoreWeave, and that's the reason for it. CoreWeave came out with a statement saying that that's not true. They have not had any cancellations for current contracts or future commitments or anything like that. So the stock was down on that. I'm surprised it didn't bounce because of that comment from CoreWeave there. All right. How do you think Cleanspark went from a month-end fleet efficiency of 16.15 in January 2025 and their February efficiency jumped to 17.07? That's a big difference. Depending on the miners that they got in there, right? They got different tranches of miners coming in. I think that might be the reason for it there. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Here is a question. Why is institutional ownership increasing in all miners if smart retail investors keep selling? Well, retail is supposed to be dumb, right? Smart money is supposed to be the big institutions. So they keep buying into it. Yeah, which is strange, right? They're continuing to buy into it, and these stocks are going down. It just makes no sense. So I think maybe they're just, I think they're being manipulated. I still think they're being way manipulated on it. I just want to get in the green on Bitfarms. So, it's a pipe dream. I know. Nah, never say never. If IREN sells BTC, should they have a monster EPS for Q1? They should have a better EPS than what they had in Q4, which was actually good. They posted a positive EPS. I think, what was it, 8 cents or something like that? But it's still a positive EPS. So they should have a better one because they've had 31 exahash installed. Bitcoin price has been also higher at that point. So yes, they should have a better EPS. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's it. We've kind of cut up. So again, I think this is a nice first step in Bitcoin getting recognized by the government, right? This is a stopgap basically from preventing the government from selling the Bitcoin. So I think this is good. But like I said, we still need the actual bill to provide the legal mechanism for Bitcoin to be stored properly and for a longer time instead of just for one president, because we don't know who the next president is going to be. Could be a Democrat, could be a Republican, we don't know, but they could have a different strategy, and they could do an executive order stopping the SBR, right? So we need a bill to actually have it codified in there. And then the states are, getting in there as well, but they're actually doing the bills to make it more legal, that you can't change it at anybody's whim there. So that's good. So the states might actually be the ones to get it done first, and then the United States government, and then I would expect other countries to follow as well. So there's still a lot of good news here happening here. So I think unless we get into depression, anything outside of that, Bitcoin still should go up by the end of the year here. Where it's going to go, 180, 200,000 is kind of the consensus here, at least right now. Maybe even higher than that. We'll have to wait and see. We're only a couple of good news stories away from that happening. So be patient out there. And as always, thank you so much for coming in here, right? Taking your time, spending it with me for a little bit, learning about these miners and things that are going on here, things that I find interesting at least. But yeah, love you all. I'll see you guys possibly tomorrow. I'm a little busy after work, but if I have time, we'll probably do one, but it's going to be probably late, like 9, 10 o'clock. Stream will cover anything that happens there. Cover definitely the conference, not conference, what the heck are they calling it? The crypto committee, you guys know what I mean. We'll talk about it then, all right? I hope you guys have a great night. Hope you guys have a great Friday, and I'll see you tomorrow.